Welcome to the latest in our Trotec webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about the Rajab R series. The R series has been around for a little bit of time in that we always had an R500, the 1300 by 900 millimeter bed size, but now we've added a very nice looking new model, the R400. Now, Hansel is joining us for today just purely as my prop man because of COVID. We need to be very wary of distancing. We couldn't quite make it wearing masks and talking together. So these machines are priced for your business. What happens is the bed size is different, and we can also change the tube that you're using. So for a slightly lower price, a lower power tube in a smaller machine, if you're starting something new and you're wanting to develop it and then maybe buy another machine later or add to the product, right? These machines are Austrian engineered and are known for their incredible high quality. Hansel is our Trotec technical manager, and he, I'm sure, will attest to the fact that these machines are workhorses.
Yeah, no, they are. We've got quite a lot of them in the field. I must say we rarely have any come back. The machines run very, very hard. If you're a customer that does a lot of cutting and you want to do big cutting, that's definitely one of the machines I'll recommend. The sign that we have right there at the top was actually done by this specific machine. So for a customer who wants to do a lot of cutting, detail engraving, it also can do a lot of detail engraving. We'll show you a few samples that we have been running on both these two machines, and you'll see the difference between both of them.
Right. So we have got the two models here. As I've already said, the difference is obvious in size. This one here has a bed size of 1300 by 900. The R400 has a bed size of 1030 by 630. The difference in the machines per se is that this one has a fixed table, has no electronic Z-axis, so can't move up and down.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
However, it has a pass-through option.
Yes, it does.
So the back opens up in case you're wanting to move fabric through or a larger part. Correct?
Correct.
The other advantage of this machine, of course, is that you have the very easy entry. So if you're using a large product such as this one that's already in the machine, you're able to take out and load very quickly.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
Right. On this machine, we have a couple of other options. This one here has the motorized Z-axis, which means that the table moves up and down electronically.
Yes, correct.
Because of that, you are able to use a rotary fixture in here.
Yes.
So for cylindrical items such as bottles, glasses, etc., which are very popular in the promotional world, you are able to add a rotary fixture to this machine and then use your rotary fixture.
Yep.
Both machines come standard with RayPack technology. RayPack means that on the inside of the machine, all the parts are enclosed.
Yeah.
So Hansel, what would the advantage of that be?
Well, if you're a customer that does a lot of, I'd say your rubber stamps, I would say that's very good because it keeps all the dust particles out. So it's basically in that section and this section, that's basically what its advantage is for, is it keeps a lot of the dust out because you've got all your bearings and all your mechanical components in there. And if they get dust, in the long run, they do get worn.
Right. So you've mentioned that will assist maintenance. So your maintenance of these machines is lower because of the fact that those moving parts are actually enclosed.
Correct.
So when you're cleaning, it's going to save you time, and time, of course, is money.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that these machines are known for cutting.
Correct.
But can they engrave?
They can engrave.
Right. So are you going to get the quality that the people associate with Trotec, or are you going to maybe go a bit slower? What would be the differences?
You will go a little bit slower. The detail engraving on the 500 it's good enough, but to a certain limit. So a machine does have a certain limit, unlike on the R400 where you don't have much limitations when it comes to the engraving. But on the 500, when it comes to detail engraving, you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it for very fine detail, especially if you're a customer that does do rubber stamps. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend that if you're a customer that does rubber stamps for that very fine detail engraving.
Right. The software for operating these machines, is it easy to use?
It's very user-friendly. If you're a person that knows how to design, to run from your design package directly to your Rajab manager, it is very easy to adapt and to learn how to use the software.
For us South Africans, I always compare it to a mick and drick camera. In other words, you push the button and it tells you what to do next.
Yes.
So very simple to operate. Even I am able to operate these machines, which is saying something. Right, so materials that are able to be engraved in these machines. Do you have a very wide spectrum of materials? What do you recommend? What don't you recommend?
If it comes to anything, I wouldn't recommend PVC, but MDF, trolleys, just some acrylic, both machines are capable of doing it. Obviously, you can do your rubber stamps on this one if you're a person that wants to do rubber stamps. As I said here, fine detail, it's good, and slower speed. So, yeah.
But Trotec itself has a huge range of engraving supplies,
Yes.
which you're able to view on our website, www.engravingsupplies.co.za. There you can buy nearly everything to put in these machines. So Delrin, leather, laminates, cork, wood, anodized aluminium, fabric. However, anodized aluminium, you can engrave, but you're never going to cut it.
No.
So no CO2 with low power tubes will ever do that, will they?
Yeah, no. None of our machines that we sell can actually cut any metals. All the metal you can do is engrave.
So any coated material, you can take the coating off, correct? Right. Perfect. So moving on, focusing. Obviously, when we're doing focusing on these machines, the focusing is slightly different in that the table of the R400 moves up and down. So you use a lens focal tool and you move the table up towards the head.
Yeah. With this one, it's different. It doesn't have a motorized Z-axis. You would actually do the focusing manually. It's got a low focus tool, and you just basically use your hand and you just adjust the head to your...
Right. Maintenance on these machines. Yeah. We've already mentioned the fact that the Ray-Pack technology certainly assists in reducing the amount of maintenance.
Yes.
But what would the weekly maintenance on this machine be, daily and weekly?
Daily, well, on a daily, obviously your lens and your mirrors, because that's your day-to-day. I would even say maybe even hourly, depending on what you're actually cutting and what you're working on.
So a different material, a different maintenance schedule.
Correct.
So if you're engraving, for example, laminates, would you clean it as often as wood?
Yes, definitely. On wood, you would do it less. But on the laminates, yes, you would. And if it's on the cutting, maybe not that as much.
Right. We also felt we should mention that the temperatures have changed hugely in the last 2 weeks. We've gone from hot to cold, to hot to cold. Summer has come unbelievably quickly. We have had no spring. And this has an influence on the maintenance in your machine, does it not?
Yes, it does.
And on the environment that you have it in.
Yeah.
What would be the perfect environment for a laser?
We would always recommend anything below 16 degrees. At least have an aircon in the room, keep it nice and cool.
So around 16, maybe up to 23, would you allow?
Yes, I would allow.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing, of course, is never have the machine close to the wall.
Correct.
That allows
some flow of cool air to come through.
Absolutely. And also try and avoid the sun at all costs, because if it's going to get too hot, that tube is going to lose lifespan. Is that not right?
Correct.
Okie dokes. Yeah. So we have learned a whole lot today.
Yeah.
In terms of safety, Trotec is very specific about the fact that their machines always have to reach the highest safety standards possible. So in terms of safety, these machines certainly do that, don't they?
Yes, they do. So you've got all your safety stickers. You've got all your points for safety. Never run a machine open. That's all part of the safety when it comes to the Trotec machines.
And the air assist would also be a safety feature, wouldn't it, in terms of flaming not happening and cutting certain products?
Correct. For customers who want to cut thicker materials, you do have the option to connect compressors on both these machines. there is an outlet. The machine does come standard with a little mini compressor, but if you want to cut thicker materials, you can connect a compressor on these machines to cut a bit thicker.
And then in the event of a disaster, these machines are all fitted standard with an emergency stop.
Correct.
Alternatively, you can always open the door and the machine will immediately stop operating.
Yeah.
Now, the reason we have actually mentioned this is because these machines are most commonly used with cutting of wood. Is that not right?
Correct.
So when you have an MDF, which we see everywhere being cut on large format machines, a lot of the MDF has a very high glue content, and that actually causes the flaming. Is that not right?
Correct.
So the more glue, the more chance of flame. In Trotec's MDF, we only have an 8% glue component. So much less flaming, much less burning. So a very nice product to use, especially if you are experiencing flaming in your machines.
Yeah.
Right, so what we spoke about a lot about was the size of the actual machine. So what we've done is we've actually cut exactly the same product on both machines. We've used a 6mm MDF for this. We have marked on the little ostrich that we've cut the lines either for painting or for adding other products. So, for example, if we were going to coat this with a laminate, we would have guidelines of exactly where to stick it, which would make the finishing of this very much easier. Right, so Hansel, would you mind taking out yours and I'll take out mine just so you can see the difference? So this product we cut immediately prior to the webinar, and you can see that Hansel has the mommy ostrich and I have probably an emu, so it's a lot smaller. So here we go. You can see that depending on what you're wanting to cut, what your application and what your vision of your business is, so you would decide on the size of the machine that you're going to purchase.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
In terms of installation, after sales and backup, we have a fully trained technical team here in South Africa, headed by Hansel. We also carry spare parts, and we are able to assist both either via telephone, team viewer, or of course on site.
And sorry, just to mention in terms of installation, both these machines can go through a standard door. They can be split and taken on the side through a door. So the size of the machine shouldn't really affect. Just look at your room areas where it's more important, as you do need a bit of space at the back. But in terms of doorway, the machine can be taken through a normal single door.
That's amazing when you consider the footprint of this machine.
Yeah.
So a really good thing, because it won't cost you more money to maybe break down a wall or use, I don't know, forklifts or break it down and spend 2 days reassembling, correct?
Yeah. Well, you might need a forklift, but it's still part of the installation when it comes to any big machine.
Perfect.
Yeah. But
Great.
In terms of doorway, we can take any of these machines through any single door.
And I believe we did one just the other day where we took it through a normal single door.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
1 day installation.
Yeah.
So Hansel, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
At the last minute, and for adding to the information that we received today.
Sure.
And to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
We wish you a very pleasant day further and all the best in your decision on which Trotec machine to buy.
Thank you.
Thank you.